Greetings, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to the Tawnya Love Show. And I hope you guys are all having a great weekend so far, almost completing the weekend. Um, Today, the topic for our show is the power and importance of living authentically. And this whole past probably like couple weeks, I have seen so many clients, as well as just my observation watching people expressing on Facebook and just situations going on in the world. And I've really been just, what is going on? Like, what do we need to really address that's going to help us be more in our power, going to help us live in more of a liberated life, more of a joyous life? Ooh, what's that sound?
It just computers took a voice coming up.
Oh, I was like, I thought I lost you. I'm like, whoa, that was like, zoop. So anyway, I thought you were messing around doing sound effects, Amnon. So today we're going to talk about being authentic and how important that really is. And I feel like every single human can relate to this at some level because when we really look out at how we're trained from birth to conform and to follow others who think they're doing a good job for us, our parents, our teachers, it could be religious leaders, government leaders, they all have sometimes what seems to be good intention to just guide us in a direction for what they think is for our best. But from a true spiritual perspective, I feel like every single soul has a right to its own freedom, its own liberation, its own expression, and to be who they are. And this is something that in my own personal journey, I've really been challenged a lot with in my lifetime. Um, as far as just the simple gift of being who I am has been challenged most of my life. And as I broke free of that enslavement, and that is a true journey for a soul to break free of the collective consciousness and the need to conform and to be like everyone tells you to be, this is a huge test for every one of us. And as I went through my own journey of creating a shift in that and pulling away from the insanity of being told what I should do and be a good girl, be pleasing, you shouldn't say this, you should say that, you should do it this way, not that way. And to this day, I still have people that at times want to come and project their opinions on me or project their way. And really, seemingly, they're trying to give me the feeling that they care about me. But often, when I thank them and say, I see where you're coming from and I thank you for that, but I really didn't ask and I am fine. And I'm actually really happy being me and I'm really happy expressing in the way that feels right and aligned to me. But thank you anyway. I observe how there's a consequence often for that. And these people will lash out at you. They will try to get people against you. They will shame you. They'll try to control you in some way. And I feel that it's something that we're taught very young. When we say what we really want, when we are upset and we're angry and we say no, like no more, we're punished for it often. And so I feel like what's really important in our journey of evolution is, for one, to really open our eyes to see the game and to see that path of being domesticated, and that we've all been put on the same exact journey of waking up into our own empowerment and our own liberation. We've all, in some form, I'm sure, experienced some form of enslavement, or in some way, we maybe have enslaved others through our need to control them, through our need to control their expression, who they can talk to, when they can talk, how they should talk. And so I feel like if we're all honest about that, we're going to really be able to tune into that ego shadow side, which this last week, I feel, since if you guys know much about Mercury going into retrograde, um, if you're not sure about it, just observe it. Like, I am not one to just follow blindly of what people tell me about things. I really observe life and I learn that way. And I've observed how when Mercury goes into retrograde, there's a communication breakdown. There's often like issues with computer electronics and just humans having conflict and chaos. And a lot of it comes down to communication. And in last week on Wednesday, we went full into Mercury in retrograde, and it was amazing, the energy. It was a crazy energy that I was experiencing, and I was observing it. I wasn't necessarily being taken for a ride by the energy, but I was watching and feeling it empathically. And it really felt like when I went into meditation that day, I truly decided to pull away from the world and to go into deep meditation and be with Source and just really tune into what this disturbance was. And it was like an energetic asteroid field was just pounding humanity, is the best way I can describe the energy. And I've watched so many souls that have really been challenged this last week with the shadow. And the shadow side is this part of ourselves that we don't want to see. It's the conflict and the duality that's going on in our relationships and in the situations where we have either enslaved others or we are enslaving being enslaved and choosing to give our power over. And the reason that's when I tuned in and asked the angels, what do I need to say about this? How do I explain it to them? What they're bringing through me is that we really are in this time of great discernment. We are in a time of really deeply looking into our own souls, really getting to know ourself, our fullness and our wholeness, looking into the shadow side. So, for example, a situation happened, which I'm not going to give too much energy, but I do feel like it fits right in with the topic, so I have to address it at some level. But there was a situation where a healer in my community had reached out to me, and she said she was trying to help me, but she was really telling me how I should express and how often I should express and kind of judging the way I express. And I observed it and I just told her, this isn't about me. And I send you love and I thank you for, your efforts to help, but I really didn't ask for you to tell me. And I don't express myself publicly to get fans or followers or approval. It truly comes from my awareness, my observation, and it's bringing messages of truth. If you love if you love that wisdom, if you love that truth today, and then tomorrow that truth coming in is kind of challenging some of your own belief systems that are out of alignment, and you now don't like Tawnya, that's okay. I truly am not doing anything I'm doing to gain popularity or fame. It is really to be a messenger of truth because I see that if we're going to break free of so much of this chaos and destruction that we've created as a society, we need to be in alignment. We need to seek truth and we need to find solution, higher conscious solution. So the reason I'm sharing this example is that this person meaning well and saying they meant well and still wanting to control my energy, and I decided I was not going to participate. I thanked her. I said, no, thank you. I'm going to continue to express the way I feel intuitively led, and I'm going to continue to honor my source inspiration as it comes through and express from that. And she couldn't leave it alone. She kept going. She kept going and she was becoming very controlling and very much trying to seem like because she was a healer, she had a right to do that. And this is when it was time for Tawnya to challenge that and say, if you're in your true alignment, I don't really care what occupation you have. If you're a librarian, if you're a healer, if you're a police officer, a teacher, a parent, it does not matter. We all have the ability to lose our alignment at times. Every one of us has the ability and the opportunity to shift out of alignment into fear and into ego. And so there's like this unconscious belief system that's projected in the healing community that if you're a healer, you are basically supposed to be perfect and you should never say the word fuck, because I do sometimes. And people are like, Tawnya, if you connect with angels, why do you say that word sometimes? And I'm like, well, because sometimes when I'm sitting in this place of observation and I'm seeing how people enslave each other, how they torture each other, how they destroy each other, how they destroy the planet, the animals are enslaved, I'm like, what the fuck? There are times when that is exactly the perfect expression to say. And so, if we have these belief systems that an angelic healer cannot express herself because then she's now not pure and she's not in alignment, this is where we're getting ourselves in trouble. And I feel like the overall topic today is about breaking down some of these belief systems and helping us to be free to really express ourselves. This healer did not take my power. I did not let her. I challenged her. She did not know how to let it go. She was not used to someone being in their power that would actually stand up for themselves. I see that because the majority of this community, when I observe it, there's a lot of people, whether it be religious leaders or school teachers or healers, that really want to see themselves sitting on a pedestal as if they have all the answers, and all these ones sitting amongst them are ignorant and little sheep that should just listen and obey them. I do not teach, lead, or inspire in that way. I do not ever look at others and think that I am on a pedestal above them and that they're below me. I see myself as someone in alignment that has got my oxygen mask on and I am fully connected to source. And all my job is to stay in that alignment, keep thriving, keep shining, keep expanding. And when I see souls that are struggling that come to me, Tawnya, what do? I point them and I guide them in the direction to their own oxygen mask. Right there, go meditate, connect with source. Right here, let's reconnect with source. So if I'm in a position where I think I need to save them, which is the big complex with a lot of healers, there's a savior complex that we get. And it's important to look at this shadow part, because if we're in this role where we think we have to save everyone and that they're all ignorant and that they need our way, they need us to control and project a way on them because they're ignorant little sheep that can't figure it out, this is not serving anyone. It's not serving ourselves, and it's not serving the ones that are actually coming for that awakening and that enlightenment. So in this situation, I stood up to this person. I said, I will not give you my power, and I see what you're doing. And I really feel that you should address this because this is not healthy. And I've observed it for a while. After that, it just turned into a complete shitstorm. And next thing, I start getting calls from clients and texts from clients saying, this person's reaching out to me. They're trying to turn me against you. I don't even really know what's going on, but it feels out of alignment. So I challenged them and said that this doesn't feel right. I was very proud of these souls that really took this test and they were in their power and alignment with it. And I was so proud of that. But I see also the sneakiness and the manipulation that goes on in all different occupations. It doesn't matter what occupation. What's important is that we start living authentically, that we start being in our power, speaking our truth, and really expressing what we need to say. I have observed too many healers and light workers that are beautiful souls, but they are so complacent and they are so submissive, and they let things happen and they think it's because of compassion. I actually had a client today that I worked with, and he was expressing that to me. He's like, Tawnya, I just feel like I've been trying to be compassionate, but I'm really pissed. Like, he was really angry about a situation. And so because he's on a spiritual path and because we've been taught so many belief systems that are not of integrity or of alignment, there's this belief system he's been taught that says, if you are a spiritual being and you're on a spiritual path, then you have to practice constant compassion, meaning the way people identify compassion is often something feels wrong and I'm being violated or I'm not being shown respect, but I just need to be submissive about it. I just need to be patient and compassionate about it, and then eventually it'll go away. And this is so far from the truth. And I feel to be a true warrior of light is the opposite of that. It is when something comes into your movie, your life situation, and it feels off, you address it immediately. You speak truth on it, you shine the light on it, you send love and forgiveness, and then you release it. If you feel anger, we need to get over this belief system that it is bad to feel anger. I can't tell you how many clients I work with that actually, that when we start tuning in deeper to their stuff where they're struggling, especially with women, women tend to have this belief system that they are crazy or they have lost control if they express anger. Where men I see struggling in the opposite spectrum, where if they cry or if they show emotion and sadness, they're big wusses and they're losers, and they need to man up. And so what we really, I feel, have such an opportunity to heal here is seeing that men and women, if we're in our wholeness, if I am in wholeness, I have masculine, feminine energy in balance. I am in balance. So if an energy comes in, I am empathic, I am intuitive, I am practicing being receptive, I'm in alignment with my feminine energy. Now, when something comes in that's challenging my safety or it's disruptive and it's out of alignment, my warrior side must show up if I'm going to be in alignment and health. So that masculine energy takes action, is assertive, speaks truth, and is in power. The two energies together are going to bring us balance. If I, as a man, if I was a man and I feel like I'm allowed to be angry and I can yell and I can express my anger, but it's shameful for me to cry, for me to actually express that I feel afraid or that I feel sadness for something, I feel betrayed, then this person is going to struggle and it's going to amplify one energy and the other energy will be very weak and out of alignment. And this is where you get people with anger management problems. They need to go to anger management. What it really is they need to balance the masculine and the feminine. When you have a woman who every day we are challenged with living in our authenticity. And today, I guarantee you, there are housewives across the nation that are being challenged and enslaved and that are feeling like nothing and they're feeling afraid and they're trying to be compassionate to the men that enslave them. Right at this time, there are men who are working in corporations and businesses where they feel enslaved, where they feel that if they do what feels right, they could lose their jobs and that would, affect the well-being of their families. And because they can't express their fear, express their true feelings to those leaders who are out of alignment, they suppress and suppress. And what happens is they go home and they externally express and project that anger on the ones around them because they are not in their true authentic alignment. And so if we aren't going to be willing to see this about ourselves, the shadow side, we're going to continue to create destruction and we're going to continue to enslave others and also enslave ourselves. So when I look at what's going on with this whole energetic, like asteroid field of energy that I've been watching, and how many souls have been struggling, how many people's relationships have been challenged lately, I feel it's such a gift. It is such a blessing for every one of us because when we can have the courage to actually look at the shadow side, when we can have the courage to see the vulnerability, to see our and look into our belief systems that are no longer serving us, we can start to dissolve them. We can start to release them and we can start to move into our wholeness and move into our alignment. And big picture, that is what we're going through. As an entire planet of humans, we are going through this shift, a self love shift to return back to that wholeness and that place of balance. And it's important. It is the most important thing in each of your day. And if you don't believe me, look at how you suffer when you do not speak your truth. Look at how you suffer when you feel anger and you suppress it. And then that anger blows up at random times, random people, and it's not, and then you feel shame. You feel guilt and you feel shame. And so you try to shove it back again, and then it builds like a volcano. The client I worked with today, I was kind of expressing to him when we do this, that volcano energy does build. We cannot stop. Energy has to go somewhere. Energy came from nowhere and it can be returned back to nowhere. Every energy comes to us to teach us something. So if something comes in and it's bringing us fear or anxiety or sadness, don't attach to it. What we need to do is say, "Whoo, what is this energy here? Like, I feel angry. What is that about? Let me get to know what's going on inside Tawnya. What is this anger in me? Let me observe and feel where this comes from. It's just an energy. It's here to help me with something. It's here to help me step into my power." A lot of times, anger comes because we are not speaking our truth. If we're feeling really angry, most likely there is some aspect of your life that is out of integrity and you are not in alignment with that integrity. So if anger comes in and we cannot think it's bad and try to shame it, we can tune into that energy and we can let it out in a healthy way. We can say, "What is this anger? What is this feeling? Okay, I feel violated. I feel betrayed. I feel disrespected." So the energy is coming up. Now we find a healthy way to express that energy and to learn and let it out, and then it leaves us. We can clear it. If we don't do this, then we hold and harbor energies and we become sick. We will create sickness and physical disease from the dis-ease of our suppression. So I want you guys to explore that energetic process and really realize that everything is the same recipe. If sadness comes in, explore it. Don't try to suppress it. If a man his mother just died and he feels shameful to cry, so he's like, "Ooh, I feel like I'm going to cry, but I can't. So I'm going to get angry because I'm allowed to do that." He's suppressing these emotions and they're going to find a way to come up eventually. And the most important part of that process is the clearing of it. If we don't let it out, this is when it starts to create heart disease and problems in the body. So if we can tune into that sadness and not feel shameful and just see it as an energy, "Oh, I'm feeling an energy of sadness," not "I am sad, I am depressed." I don't need to attach myself to the energy. I don't need to create a story. And we as humans need to watch that because a lot of us, we get sick or we have things happen and we attach ourselves to it as a story. And now we have to have chronic eating disorder. Now I have to have bipolarness. We get these labels and titles, and it's not serving us. It's really actually sending us in the opposite direction of the alignment we're seeking. So if we're really addressing the emotion as it comes up and we feel that sadness, we learn from that sadness, and then we find a healthy way to express that sadness, we release it. And now the energy shifts and it moves out. It does not have to stay. And now we're like, okay, let's go back to our happy place. I've in my family, they have witnessed the warrior in Tanya, and there being an angelic healer does not mean at all that I cannot feel emotion. I feel what I mirror to my clients and my family is balance. They see that if Tanya is feeling healthy and happy and in good energy, that's where I'm typically at. Most of the time that's where I'm at. But if something comes in and it's projecting enslavement and control and it's upsetting and I feel anger about it, they watch me express that anger, address it, speak truth about it, and then I release it and I let it go. And I don't have to hold on to it. I'm not one that holds on to anger and vengeance or jealousy or any of that. There's no need for all those shaming, guilty, nasty energies when we actually address it and then release it. Now, this releasing part is important that we address our life situation as well. So let's say someone I was in a relationship and someone betrayed me, and we worked through it and I was sad, and then I let the anger come out. I dealt with that, and then I said, okay, here's the deal. You can't do that to me again because I love myself too much, and so if you betray me again, you're telling me you don't want to be in my life, and that is how it's going to be. You need to honor that boundary. And so let's say a few months later that person betrays that person again. They come in, they do the betrayal, they don't really show much reverence for it. Now, a lot of times in the spiritual communities, what I hear is just keep being compassionate, just keep being patient. They'll figure it out. No, not at the cost of your own well being, not at the cost of your own sacred space. My children have been addressed when they're out of alignment, which has happened a few times. My teenager, he has been told very clearly, you step over that boundary again and you show disrespect in this home and you interrupt my sacred space and don't show honor, you are asking to move out. So you living here, I love you and I would love you to live here. But if you cannot show honor and you keep disrespecting, then you are showing me that you need to go somewhere else because that is not what we do here. This is self love. And we need to learn to do this. I feel like a lot of mothers struggle to be in that power and they get pushed all around by their children. And then because we're in that fear of being in our power, we enable and create monsters because of it. We give them their way, we let them get away with stuff, we keep catering to their misalignment. And then one day it gets more and more intense. And then we're angry like, how did that happen? It happened from a very slow and steady process of misalignment and catering to it. So if we want to actually be joyous creatures, and I feel I am a very joyous person. My soul is high vibration. I am a joyous woman. I love life to the fullest. However, I feel every single right in my being to express my truth. So if something comes in and I feel anger, you're going to be sure Tanya's going to let you know that, and then I'm going to address it. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to see how it even affects. Like I often don't see something happening to me as just about me because I'm in a place of speaking to the public in such a transparent way. Often if a betrayal or some energy of control comes in, like this enslaving energy that came, I go publicly and talk about it to bring basically the awareness to that energy so that every soul in their own way that's going through it will see, whoa, look how she's handling that. She's actually speaking truth. She's in her power. She is not afraid. And look at, she's rising. How is she doing that? The reason I share that so truthfully is because that is what a leader of light does. We live authentically, we live transparently, we live powerfully, and we live truthfully. If you don't do that and you're trying to be a good spiritual person, and it means that you're not being honest and that you can't express your emotions, you're going to self destruct. It's going to be a matter of time before the shit hits the fan and your life is going to be very out of balance. You may start to feel sickness in your body. Your relationships will start breaking down. And it's because we are not here to do that anymore. All this energy happening, all the shadow energy coming into our face is so that we'll look at it, we'll learn from it, and then we can clear it and release it. So, my hope in this discussion today is to help each of you tune into that part of yourself. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop blaming your wife. Stop blaming your husband. Stop blaming your children. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming your government. Start looking in the mirror and start looking at where you need to live more authentically, where you need to be in your empowerment. There's I don't know if Amnon has a way to play a song on this show or not, but if not, there's a song by Hoobastank called The First of Me. And I love this song. The song struck my soul to the core when I heard it for the first time. And it was at a time in my life where I really had to let some things go before I left my business and left my marriage. And it's all about being the first of me, not being the next to them. It's about living in your truth, living with power, living with freedom, and not being afraid, not being enslaved, not selling your soul for someone to turn you in a direction that they say you should go in. And this is so important for every one of us listening today. I don't care if you're 5 years old or if you're 80 years old, living your true, authentic alignment, living in that alignment is vital for your happiness. If you're living in a way where your parents are projecting control, you're going to do the best you can in those situations to say, hey, I don't agree with that. I was that kid. That doesn't make sense. I don't agree with that. That is out of alignment. I was speaking this since I was a little girl. And did I get punished for it? I did. And what needs to shift is the adults and the leaders that are out of alignment. We need to stop shaming our children. We need to stop shaming them for just being who they are, shaming them for being little girls, shaming them for being boys, shaming them for their sexuality, shaming them for everything, causing them to live in such fear that we are creating future generations of disease and destruction. So we need to really start looking at how are we participating in that, or are we participating in the shift? Am I going in the direction of continuing enslavement? Am I enslaving my clients? Am I enslaving my fiance? Am I enslaving my children? Or am I very consciously making sure that Tanya's in charge of Tanya? She expresses what she needs to say and she encourages others to do the same, but I do not control them. I do not need to control them. They don't need to be like me. They don't need to look like me. They need to be them. That is the goal. The mission is that I feel when you're an aligned leader, you're here to lead others back to themselves, back to their alignment, back to their authenticity. We're not here to be clones of each other. And it's really not serving any of us. And if you look at how much depression is rising, how much mental illness is rising, how much suicide rates are rising, drug addiction, it is right there because these souls are going numb. Most of the souls that are struggling in this way, you can take so much before the soul it just goes numb and the human part will stay here operating like a robot, but the soul takes off. And I feel that if we're here to really do what each of us came to this planet to do, we need to come back and plug in and get back connected to source, go back online, turn up, activate all of our energies, speak our truth, feel our emotions, express them in a healthy way, move forward, and live joyously. That's what we're here for. So I'm going to pause. I just went for a half an hour straight. Boom. So, has anybody got any feedback, questions coming in,
No,
Amnon?
no, no feedback.
Okay.
But yeah, you went. You went.
Okay, I'm going to give the phone number in case anybody wants to call in. If you want to call in live and chat with me on this, share what your experiences are. If you are feeling like you're struggling in some way with enslavement, perhaps you're going to be even one of the honest ones. It's like, shit, I think I've been enslaving someone. I think I've been projecting my need for power on someone because I've lost control. And you know what? Be brave and see that. It takes huge courage to see that. And I honor those who have courage that can see what they're doing because the only way we're going to heal and shift is if we can see. We cannot change anything if we stay in denial. So the number, if you want to call, is 919-518-9773. And again, you can also Skype into Computers 2K Voice. So if you guys want to call in, I'll give you a little opportunity for that. Is there a way you can play a song, Amnon, or is that not possible?
I mean, technically it's possible, but uh, YouTube will flag it, and I don't like to do that because it's like a slap.
Okay.
I
Because
mean,
they're like,
we can
which
play it.
I would see it as promoting their song.
I
So,
know that's not how
it's,
they look at it,
yeah.
and
Well, if
we
you
can
guys get a chance,
we can play it
go ahead.
before the show or after the show once we stop recording.
Okay. Um, What I'm feeling is just you guys could go and look it up, but it's Hoobastank. It's like Hoobstank. And the song is The First of Me. And I truly, like when I meditate, I see myself one day walking out on a stage with thousands of people in the audience that are coming to get pumped up and be, come back into their liberation and their empowerment. And I see myself walking out to that song. I think it's going to be Tanya's theme song, but it's awesome. And the point of it, though, is to really live authentically. And if you think about how often we are tempted to not do that, how from birth we are told to betray ourselves, to betray our own knowing, to betray our own feelings, our own guidance. And like as a teacher, I was in yoga today and I'm doing a yoga teacher training, and the same energy is coming up where I was expressing to my client, I'm not here to teach you to do yoga Tanya's way. And there's a lot of yoga teachers who really think that, who are like, you need to do it like me. You need to say it like this. You need to do it repeatedly like a robot, just like me. And it is ego. It is not empowerment. It is not freedom. It is not creation. And I feel like when we're the most happy is when we are in our alignment as a creator. And that is when we are expressing from our own inner self knowing, our own inner truth, and our own intuition, inspiration. So, as a yoga teacher, if I'm training teachers, there's going to be things I'm teaching them as Tawnya. I'm teaching them, alignment. I'm teaching them how to express and how to find their way. But overall, the ultimate thing I'm teaching them is to listen to their own inner teacher, to realize that they have the inner knowing that is so strong and deep, and they need to start connecting with it. When I'm working with healing clients, they come to me for guidance and counsel, and I help them, but I empower them. I help them start asking questions to themselves. I help them to start looking deep and exploring their own inner knowingness, start to connect with their own truth. How do they express it in their own authentic way? They don't need to all become healers like Tawnya to be authentic and empowered. I wouldn't even expect that. That would be crazy. When souls come, there may be one girl comes and she's going to be a writer one day, and she's going to find, ooh, a bug just flew in. She's going to find her way to express spirit's truth in her through her writing. Someone else will find a way to do that through their music. Someone else will find a way to do that through dancing. Someone else may find a way to do that through like an internet show. So, however you find a way to express and be authentic, that's key. If I'm angry and I pretend to always be happy, that is going to make me miserable. And I'm not going to be able to fake people out too long because that energy and emotion is going to keep rising. So, people that watch me, they see probably 90, 99, 98% time Tawnya is pretty happy, high vibration, but every now and then some energy comes in to challenge and try to hook in my energy or try to control me, try to abuse or hurt someone close to me or myself. And that's when I express in my warrior, I'm angry and this is not going to happen. And that's important. If I didn't feel I was allowed to do that, I feel like that would be so unhealthy. And I know it would be, not just from theory, but because I've lived it. There's been a lot of my life where I lived silently. I felt I was told, no one wants to hear about that, Tawnya. No one wants to hear about angels, Tawnya. That's kind of weird. You should just be quiet. No one needs to hear about that healing, Tawnya. Even though you have that intuition, it doesn't mean it's real. You just need to keep it to yourself. I have been controlled most of my journey, told that what I feel and what I know was wrong. And I used to believe it, and I used to struggle so much with my self worth and my self esteem. I had totally messed up self confidence issues because of that constant giving of my power, giving it away. And I say giving because when we're in a really empowered alignment, we can see that we are not victims. We choose to give our power away. We do. I could have, when that woman came and projected on me and told me what I should do, I could have just said, oh, okay, you're right. What should I do? And then I just go and start doing what she says to do. How many times do we do this a day? If you're at work and your boss comes in a nasty mood and they're rah, 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 and they're like, do it this way, and they're kind of shaming you and degrading, how many of you have the courage and the balls to stand up and say, hey, I am not going to be talked to like that. I would love to help you, but I am not here to be treated like that. I am not your slave. And a lot of you won't do it only because you're afraid. You're afraid of what you'll lose. But I promise you, from my own experience, that when you start to stand up to these ones who are in a misalignment, and you start to challenge them and shine the light on them, it doesn't mean you fight with them. You're not mean to them. You just shine the light on what they're doing. You help them to see how they've slipped out of alignment. This is love. This is actually what love is. A lot of us are very twisted in what we think love is. We think if I love someone, then I don't tell them that and I just cater to their misalignment and I walk on eggshells because I don't want to cause trouble. And then that way they love me and then there's no issues. Do you know how many relationships, how many clients I help with healing of relationship issues that are birthed just like that? Because they are not in their power and they've now given their power away for so long. This soul actually expects them to give them their power. And so now there's bigger and deeper issues coming up in the relationship. So we have to start addressing it right away, and we need to start today, not procrastinate it another day. Start right now. Someone comes in and yells at you and they're out of alignment. Hey, no need to talk to me like that. I'd be happy to help you with whatever you need, but you need to speak to me with respect. Oh, Ralph, you need to leave. You're fired. All right, so be it. You accept it, you move forward, you grow, and you find a better aligned situation. If you're in a relationship, same thing's happening. Big picture, the biggest fear you have is that the worst thing, honestly, is that you stay stuck in that enslavement. It doesn't matter how long you stay there, it's going to get worse and worse and more uncomfortable. The most important part is standing up to it and daring to step into your liberation, and in being in that space of freedom is going to bring you joy. And I've had jobs leave, I've had relationships leave. I've even had people that weren't my clients, but that wanted to work with me at first, and then they were just out of alignment. They were not in a place of honor or integrity, and I just said, "I'm not the one to work with you." And then, I don't like you. You're a fake healer. Okay, just because I won't let you control me, if you want to call me that, so be it. Off with you. So we have to get to this place where we're comfortable and being who we are, and we're not catering to what others think of us. Um, is anybody writing in? Because I was going to read a story if I have a little bit of time.
No, I posted the link to the YouTube
Mm,
to the song,
thank you.
and Jody said thank you. That's it.
Okay, awesome. This I'm going to read you guys a children's book if you're open. It's a little out of the box today, but I've actually read this children's story to so many of my clients this week and in workshops because it just Spirit was like, read them that book. And I've had this children's book for years. It was a book that my children were given
You
when they were
work
little.
you work with
And
kids?
what's that?
You work with kids?
Yeah, I've worked with everybody. Yep.
That was
Um, but I actually have been this week, I've been reading this children's story. It's called You Are Special. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I've been reading it to my clients that are adult clients. And I feel like one thing I love about children's stories is that they're so simple in their point and in their truth. And overall, the message of this book, actually, maybe I'll just summarize the book and I'll let you guys get it if you want to, because I can go through what it is. But it's called You Are Special. It's by Max Lucado, I think, Lucado. And what it is it's a story about what I teach as a meditation teacher about connecting with source. And so in the storybook, it's kind of written in the storyline, kind of like it's about a bunch of wooden people, and the creator, the wood carver, represents, to me, it represents source, or you could call it God, but it's the creator. All the wooden puppets are humanity. And so there's a puppet in the story that, it talks about how in this society, all these wooden people, they will give each other stars or dots. And so if the little puppets or wooden people are good, and if they're talented, if they're pretty, they get a star. And if they're not, if their wood's chipped or if they fall, they say something silly, they get a dot. And so throughout the journey, there's some puppets that have lots and lots of stars. Everyone loves them. It's like our society. Movie stars, oh, you get a star. We like you. You're pretty. You are talented. We love you. We will listen to anything you have to say. Someone that stumbles, they fall, you get a dot. You get a dot. The more dots you get, you start to feel comfortable hanging around other people with lots of dots. This could be like the journey of a criminal. They're like told they're bad when they're in school. They're told they're a loser. You're a screw up. They start to believe it. Then they start only hanging out with others who have also been told this, and it starts to create a different shift of where they feel they belong. So in the story, there's a girl who, when I read this story to my children years ago, I knew that is who Tawnya is going to emulate. I am going to be like that girl because she understands wisdom. And in the book, her name is Lucia. And Lucia is a girl that people will come up to her, the wooden people will come and try to put stars on her because she's pretty, and they fall off. They come and try to put dots on her because she doesn't have any stars, and they fall off. And no matter what, they try to stick these marks on her and they won't stick. And this puppet, the book is named Punicello, the story. He sees her and he's just in awe of that. He's like, how is that possible? How come none of the marks are sticking on her? So he gets to know her. He asks her, what's going on? Like, how come when they stick these stars and dots, they don't stick? And she was like, well, every day I meet with the woodcarver and you should meet him. And he's just like, well, where is he? So he ends up going to meet the woodcarver. He's a little nervous about it because he's not sure that he's worthy. And when he goes to see the woodcarver, it's a little overwhelming. It's this big shop with, all the tools that he makes the puppets with. And when he's there, the woodcarver sees him, calls him by name, and is so glad to see him and says he's been waiting to see him for a long time. And so Punicello is asking questions and he's trying to get to know what the woodcarver's about. And the woodcarver sees he has all these dots on him. And so he's like, I see you got a lot of marks there. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I guess, I tried. I've been trying to do my best. And the woodcarver says to him, "It doesn't matter what all the other they were called the what are they called? The Webbits or Wemmicks. They're the Wemmicks is what the name of the people, the wooden people are." And he's like, "It doesn't matter what the other Wemmicks think. All that matters is that you know that I love you and that you're special and that I created you and I don't create mistakes." And so he's visiting with the woodcarver. This is the symbol of each of you plugging into source. You're in meditation, you're in your prayer time, not just talking, but listening, connecting, having your vibration raised, tuning into higher consciousness to find solution, to find the answers, to find the guidance, to come into that higher vibration to receive healing, to receive wholeness, to visualize your abundance, to visualize your healthy relationships and create them in that conscious little bubble of creation. When we're in meditation, it's such a powerful place. And so the book is representing that. When this girl, Lucia, goes to visit the woodcarver, source, she's connecting, she realizes she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's worthy, she's powerful, and that all these other societal beings that are out of alignment, that are not visiting the woodcarver, that are walking around giving each other marks like, let me give you a compliment because there's something in it for them and they want to give you something to probably get something. And the ones that don't like you, they come and put a dot on you because you don't look like them, you don't think like them. This is the game of society. And what I love about this children's book is it really puts it in perspective that when we tune in and we visit the woodcarver, God, source, we understand our true worth, we understand our true power, and we find peace and we find joy and ease. And now, when I'm in the world, and I have become like Lucia, it was my intention and I have aligned with it. Now in society, there are times when I have someone come and project hatred and anger at me, and I observe it, and I'm like, not about me. Thank you, anyways. And I move on with my day, and that dot falls. It cannot stick to me. There are days where I have some that come to me and they're like, Tawnya, you are so amazing. Oh my God, I wish I could be like you. And that star does not stick because I just mirror to them. I am here to mirror to you your own alignment. You do not need to make me a guru. You do not need to bow and worship me. You don't need to see anything about me being separate from yourself. You just need to see that I am mirroring to you your own beauty, your own light, your own potential. So when we're in that alignment, like Lucia learns, she is at ease. None of the marks, none of the stars or dots or judgments or compliments matter to her. She doesn't need them. And I feel like that's what I hope to mirror to others. Hold on, my phone's doing some weird noise. What is it doing? Oh my God, having weird technical things. But when we're really in our alignment and we're practicing meditation, I can tell you this from truth, from experience. I cannot teach any of you guys watching a thing. I can talk to you, but if none of you put it into practice and you don't experience it yourself, you will not know. You'll think about it, it'll be a theory. So if you want to know how powerful you are, if you want to know how worthy you are, if you want to know how you can heal anything, how you can find the solution to anything, if you want to know how amazing you are and how important it is that you actually align with who you are while you're here and be authentically 100% Amnon or Tanya, like we be who we are and not cater to others' need to control that. I promise you, you will feel joy, you will feel expansion, you will feel and experience abundance, and everything you love will come to you. No matter what the external movie may be, you will feel joy and you will feel power and alignment because you're being honorable to self. You're not betraying self. And I feel like that's the overall big picture reason that I'm on this planet as a healer and as a speaker on the show and as a artist and everything I do. I'm writing a children's book and all these things I'm doing are to help guide us back to that alignment, help to bring us back to that connection with source so that we all thrive because every single one of you deserve to. Every single one of you are worthy of it. Not any of us are not worthy because of where we were born, a color of our skin, if we're gay, if we're white, black, Mexican, it doesn't matter. And I just wrote a blog, if any of you guys are interested in reading it, about it was on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, on the anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And I wrote a blog, my last blog, if you go on TanyaAngel555.com and you go and read that blog, it's about us continuing his dream. And I feel like people in leadership like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, there's been so many, but these are some of the big ones we know of that have come to the planet and they were very, very aligned no matter how many people hated on them, tried to like cause them damage. Well, I could say they weren't always aligned. Nelson Mandela in the beginning, not aligned. He actually used vengeance and hate in the beginning and it got him in prison. But he learned a lot about that journey. And when he came out, he realized that they had to be above that. They could not become what they hated. They had to forgive. They had to speak truth. They had to stand in their power and definitely stand up for their rights and express them. But becoming hateful and vengeful was never going to serve them. So when we start looking at these leaders, we can see how we've seen a lot of evolution on our planet. We've seen those that have come to blaze that trail, to clear the way. But we have to continue the work. Each of us continues that work by being in alignment, by living a life of integrity and being authentic, and by making sure that we are not enslaving other souls. No matter how that enslavement can show up, we don't choose to participate. Because it doesn't matter if it's an African American issue or right now it's a lot about gay rights issues. Let people do their thing. Let people love who they want to love. Allow people to sit in a restaurant. They are just as worthy as you. We have to start popping these belief systems that tell us that some of us are superior and others are inferior. The reason we continue to cling to this stuff is because some of us actually are in an ego place where we really like to feel like we're better than them. We really like to believe that if I'm in this religion, I am the chosen one and all of you are going to go to hell because that makes me feel more safe and more powerful. It's out of alignment. And so, even if you do that and you get millions of people to join your misaligned club, it is not going to make that misalignment any more truthful. And in truth, it's not going to make you happy. I see them. I watch people all the time that do this. They are not happy. So, we really need to get into a place where we clear that. We start to pop these belief systems that we see that are really causing a lot of enslavement. And we need to come back to our own authentic space of alignment, and we will live joyous, happy lives. It's not that hard, but it will take a lot of courage. I feel the more that we each do this, the less courageous it's going to be one day. It will just become natural. But right now, when the collective is insane and the scale is very tipping in the favor of the darkness, there's light coming in and there may look like you're all alone. I have definitely felt at times that I am standing alone in the darkness, but I know I'm not. My angels, my guides have assured me you are not alone, but you are the light bringer. Do not give up on what you're doing. Keep blazing the trail with that light because eventually others will turn their lights on and they will start to go into that alignment with you. So we got to look at that in our own lives. Are we sitting around waiting for other people to heal? And that's why we're not? Are we in the rescue mode? Are we trying to be saviors and go save people at the cost of ourselves? idiot compassion. Dalai Lama totally thinks that's not a good idea. I've heard him talk about that. So we got to look at if we're really loving ourselves and we're really focused on our work, we are going to be looking in the mirror and addressing our shadow. We're going to be looking in the mirror and seeing where is it that I'm participating in the insanity of the collective? Where is it that I am able to shift this so I can transcend that darkness and I can turn that shadow energy into light? I can blend it into a new way. This is what we are capable of. And I feel it's what we are all here to actually do. But we have to have the courage to come back into alignment and we have to have the courage to be our true self. Me speaking this right now, there could be consequences. There could be. And I'm sure in some countries there'd be instant, swift consequences. But these are things we have to stand up for so that we all have our freedom of expression. I definitely value that. I live in a country where I'm allowed to do that, at least for now. And I hope it stays that way and gets better. But we need to see that it's not like that for everyone. And the way it's going to shift is by us doing it. Even if you live in a country where others are saying they're going to kill you for being in your alignment, in your truth, in your power, I feel it would be better to stand in my alignment and power and lead others through that inspiration than to cower and fall into shame, enslavement, and lead everyone there with me. So it's a choice. There you go. It is a choice, and it is a courageous choice. There may be times where you do this and you may lose a job, you may lose a life partner, a friendship, someone may leave your movie. But I've learned this myself, whatever leaves is meant to, and whatever leaves is creating space for what is meant to come in. And you may be blown away of how beautiful of a life you can have when you start standing in your power and living in alignment and living with authenticity. So I'm going to pause. Anybody questioning anything or sending in any comments?
No, I'm begging them.
They're all being quiet today.
Yeah,
And that's okay. How about you, Amnon? Can you relate to that? Like the importance of speaking your truth and.
absolutely. I mean,
Mhm.
this is why the hallelujah was for. Do I have to?
Yes.
I don't have to elaborate on that. I mean, of course,
Hmm.
it make life so much better and the world so much nicer to live in.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I feel, hey, it's 555 right now. I feel that when we really are being authentic, like we just feel good. Even if you have anger or if you have sadness, at least you're being authentic about it. Like, I feel sad today. I'm going to feel this energy. I'm going to express it healthy and then I'm going to release it. And I don't need it to stay attached to me. And I feel like if we could start doing this, oh, society is going to shift because all this problems with depression and anxiety and fear, it is a lot of souls not saying stuff. It is a lot of souls submitting, conforming, staying in fear and shadow because they have forgotten how powerful they are. And I assure you, every single one of you listening today, you have every bit of capability, every bit of power, every bit of potential that I have. If I can stand here and say these things and I can stand in my power, if I can clear the way, if I can face judges and face police officers and face mothers and parents and whatever energies that come my way, if I can stand up and face them and speak truth and keep shining, so can each of you. And if you're telling yourself you can't, and oh, Tawnya can, but I can't because of whatever, it is your ego and is trying to keep you enslaved. So the biggest thing you need to see is how you have a tendency to stay in that space of enslavement. And it makes sense because we've all been taught to go there. It has been taught to you for lifetimes. For lifetimes, we've been in this energy of it is okay to be enslaved and just follow blindly. Just do what they say, don't question it. We've been taught this. And so when we're gentle with ourselves, we need to see, okay, it makes sense that I'd have a tendency to go back and be treated crappy because I have been for so long. It makes sense that I had that tendency to be silent in that meeting because I have been for so long. But that awareness that you're doing it right now is all it takes to shift it so that the next opportunity that comes, you tell yourself, I am not going to be afraid this time. I am going to speak truth this time. I'm going to stand in my power this time. I'm going to blow my own mind of how courageous I can be. And if you get afraid of what to say, a lot of clients will be like, Tawnya, how do you? It's like you just have these words come through, and how do you do it? I'll tell you how I do it. I stay tuned in to source. I am channeling that wisdom. I am tuning into my angels and letting them speak through me with power and consciousness and wisdom and truth. And it's not Tanya ego trying to control it and make it happen from fear. Tanya gets out of the way and I let spirit speak through. When I'm painting, Tanya gets out of the way. What do you have to say? And I channel the painting. I channel the words when I'm blogging. I channel the words when I'm speaking on the show, when I'm teaching yoga, when I'm teaching meditation. It is coming through me. So if each of us has the courage to come into this space where we really allow spirit to move through us and work through us with love and light and authenticity, you will be amazed of how much power you have. You'll be amazed of what you have to say. I'm still, there's days I'm still amazed. Like, I have been talking on this show for over a year and I have never ran out of anything to say. It's amazing because everything that needs to be addressed is coming in the now. And if I just allow it and I don't get in the way, it is beautiful. And each of you watching has the ability to start tuning in this way. Each one of you. All right. I am going to basically sign off now because if no one's calling in, that is okay. I hope you guys will just ponder this and that you'll process how important it is that you each awaken from enslavement, how much it's important that you each stop participating in it, that you start speaking your truth, and that you start living with great courage. Because when we all start to choose to do this, it is going to be a mighty powerful shift on the planet. That is my goal and that is my vision. So I hope that you guys are all doing beautifully and that you're feeling whatever emotions you need to feel them, learn from them, release, and clear them. That is the recipe, and it will happen for eternity. It is
Ta-
evolution.
Tanya,
Yeah.
Jody's asking, where are you located?
I am located in Vancouver, Washington. And actually, that since she's asking that, um, I would one thing is I will say if you want to have a session for an angelic work clearing, which is the main thing I specialize in, as well as past life regression, soul coaching, I can do that in person if you're in my area. But if you're not, I can do that through Skype or over the phone. So if you want to schedule a session or work with me, I work with clients all over the world. It doesn't matter where you live. I can do this remotely. I'm getting ready to do a retreat. I'm kind of getting the people to all sign up. I need to get 10 people to confirm that they want to go, but I'm planning a healing retreat called the Empowering of the Empath Transformational Retreat, and it's going to be the last weekend in April. So if any of you guys watching feel interested in coming to that, it'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it's the 24th through the 26th of April at Cannon Beach in Cannon Beach, Oregon. We're going to be right at the coast. It's going to be beautiful. And we will be doing a lot of transformational work and healing together, having fun, doing meditation and yoga, and just all kinds of fun at the beach. So if that sounds something like you'd like to do, the cost is $555 for 3 days. It includes the housing and some groceries that we'll get to make meals together. And then you're going to want to have some spending cash for if we go out. We might go out to eat a meal or two and go shopping or something. So if any of you guys are interested in that, email me at tanyaangel@gmail.com, or you can go to the website tanyaangel555.com and find my contact information. I'll also give you guys my phone number since I'm giving such specific stuff. My number is 360-567-7576. And so if you want to call me and ask me questions about the retreat or ask me questions about working with me as a healer, just give me a ring and we'll go from there. So if you guys are interested in that retreat, though, I'm not kidding. As soon as possible, you want to contact me. What I'm asking for is a $150 deposit, non-refundable deposit. And the reason I'm asking that up front is because when I get all that deposit money, that's what I'm going to use to actually purchase the rental of the house, because we're going to be renting a house and I have to pay for that up front. So if you're interested, you need to contact me right away because only 10 people can come to this one. And if we get more interest in the future, these will grow. I'm actually going to Maui, Hawaii on my birthday on March 3rd, and I'm going there to scope out another retreat site for a healing retreat in Hawaii. So Tanya is on the move this year, just like I said I'd be. It's time to start doing retreats and traveling. If you guys have interest in having a retreat in your area, contact me. And if you get enough interest, I could come to you. So let me know if you guys are interested in that retreat at Cannon Beach. I would love to have an amazing transformational process with you, and I know it's going to be awesome. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Jody, just contact me. Hopefully you got that information. If you stick around for a minute, I can go on the chat live and type in those addresses if you wait about 5 minutes or so. Um, but I hope you guys just, keep focusing on your expansion, stay truthful, stay aligned. And I'm not kidding. Daily meditation is so vital these days. When the world feels crazy and that energy slamming you, have the wisdom to pull away from the world and go and connect with source and get your vibration raised, get your solutions, your guidance there. I promise it makes all the difference. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you. I wish you all the best, and you are beautiful light that is ready to rise. Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tawnya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.